The man angrily choked his pregnant wife, accusing her of cheating on him with his own brother. He screamed that he saw them with his own eyes, her clothes all messed up while they were in the car together. He even told her they should have just died together. The woman desperately denied it, swearing the baby was his, and that she had never cheated on him. But the man just wouldn't listen. It turns out, this was just the latest cruel thing he had done to her. Just a few moments earlier, he had ordered his men to take her away for a blood transfusion to save his mistress Yao Yao, who was in a coma. The pregnant woman begged him to stop, pleading that another transfusion would kill both her and their baby. But he coldly grabbed her and told her she wasn't even worthy of saying his name. He touched her stomach and sneered that he didn't even know whose kid it was. He demanded that she keep being a living blood bag until Yao Yao finally woke up. This was the same man who had once proposed to her so lovingly, but all those promises were meaningless now. Then he showed her a text message sent from her phone that said the baby was his brother's and set up a secret meeting at their old spot. He told her that the 3 years she spent in prison weren't nearly enough punishment and that she deserved to rot there for the rest of her life. Just then, his phone rang. The call was to tell him that Yao Yao had finally woken up. Without hesitating for a second, he demanded a divorce and announced that Yao Yao would now take her place as his wife. But the woman fought back, refusing to sign the papers and revealing a shocking secret. She screamed that Yao Yao was the one who actually killed his brother and that she was just a homewrecker who would never replace her. Furious that she would dare to insult his mistress, the man slapped her hard across the face. "You're nothing but a murderer who cheated on me," the man sneered, telling his wife she wasn't even worthy of saying his mistress's name. As she begged him not to leave, he violently shoved her away, making her fall to the floor. Suddenly, she collapsed in terrible pain, and a pool of blood started spreading out from under her. He looked on in disgust, calling the baby a bastard and saying it could die for all he cared. He then coldly told her she wasn't fit to be the mother of his child. He said that every time he heard her son call him father, it just reminded him of the shame she brought him. When she woke up in a hospital bed, she was horrified to see her adoptive family and his mistress, Yao Yao, standing over her. Panicking, she grabbed her stomach and asked about her baby. Her adoptive father calmly told her that the child was a bastard and that he had taken it upon himself to have it aborted. As she stared in horror, Yao Yao leaned in and whispered the most horrible secret of all. She told her the aborted baby had been thrown into the wolf pen at her cousin's farm, a place where the hungry animals howled with excitement. Hearing this, the woman snapped and lunged at Yao Yao to kill her, but her adoptive mother held her down, slapped her, and forced her to sign the divorce papers. Only then did the whole truth finally come out. Her mother screamed that without them, she was just an orphaned beggar who would have been crushed to death in a collapsing building. They had only saved and raised her for one reason: to be a living blood bag for Yao Yao. The mistress smirked, telling her it was her honor to donate blood because the title of Mrs. Mu could only ever be hers. The mistress taunted the woman, happily announcing that her fiancé was on his way. The woman was thrown out by her family and forced to crawl out of her hospital bed into the hallway. Just as she stumbled out, she was shocked to see her young son, Xiaochuan. But instead of running to her, he walked right past her and into the mistress's room. Peeking inside, she saw her son lovingly feeding the other woman and calling her mommy. The woman's heart shattered as she called out to him, but he turned to her, called her his uncle's murderer, and told her to stay away. Her fiancé walked up to her, furious, and asked what she was doing there. In tears, she told him his mistress had killed their baby. He exploded with rage, shouting that she was the one who framed his mistress for everything and accusing her of being jealous. The mistress then came out, playing the victim, and claimed the woman had stolen her father, her home, and now her husband. She asked why she could never be satisfied. The woman demanded to know why her fiancé wouldn't believe her, but he coldly reminded her that she was the one who sent the text confirming the affair. Heartbroken, she told him to give her son back, but the boy ran to his father, crying that he didn't want to go with the crazy woman. As she was dragged away by security, her fiancé ordered her to be taken to another room to recover. Later that night, Xiaochuan snuck into her room and revealed the shocking truth. He had always believed her, but he had to pretend to hate her, because the mistress threatened to kill her if he didn't do what she said. He tearfully told her he loved her, and they hugged. The next morning, as he was leaving, he ran into the mistress in a hallway. She was in a wheelchair and smiled in a threatening way, asking him what he was doing there. The boy, his mind poisoned by his aunt, stared at his mother in a hospital bed and called her a murderer who didn't deserve to be his mom. The aunt smiled cruelly, whispering that since he hated his mother so much, they should just kill her together. She promised him he wouldn't get in trouble. As the boy hesitated, she pushed his hand forward and he plunged the knife into his mother's side. In the next second, her husband stormed into the room, but his reaction was not what she expected. He rushed to his injured wife, but when he saw the boy collapsed on the floor in shock, he coldly said this kind of spawn was better off dead. The bleeding mother was horrified, pleading that their son was set up, that it was her sister who pushed him. But no one believed her. What the helpless woman didn't know was that her sister was having an affair with another man. It turns out she was plotting to get rid of her and take her place as the new wife. She promised her lover that even after she married the rich husband, he would still be her dog. As part of their plan, that very night, as the injured woman lay sleeping, he lunged at her, telling her he was going to have his way with her and that he didn't mind that she was dirty. But just as he covered her mouth, her husband stormed into the room and punched the attacker to the ground. The husband furiously grabbed the man, but in the next second, the attacker made a shocking claim. He stated that he and the woman were in love, and her son was actually his child, not the husband's. He begged the husband to let them be together and to give him back his son. The woman desperately denied everything, insisting she had never cheated on him, but her husband was furious. He looked at her with total disgust, asking if she had been with so many men that she had forgotten who the father was. Just then, her sister wheeled in, pretending to be innocent. It turned out this was her trap all along. She suggested they do a paternity test right there in the hospital their family owned. Panicking, the woman refused, insisting they must go to a different hospital, which only made her look guiltier. Her husband grabbed her face, convinced she was hiding something. The next day, he threw the fake paternity test results in her face. The test showed he was not the father. He shoved divorce papers at her, threatening that if she didn't sign, neither she nor the bastard child would see the light of day. Heartbroken, she signed the papers, warning him not to regret his decision. The moment she was done, her sister took her husband's arm, and her lover showed up again, grabbing her in a twisted hug. The husband coldly told her to never show up in front of him again because she disgusted him. Left alone with her attacker, he covered her mouth, whispering that her son's life was now in his hands. The woman lunged at her sister, choking her after the cruel woman revealed she had the little boy's arms and legs broken. But it was all a trap. The sister gasped for air, pretending to be the victim, and confessed that the boy wasn't the husband's child, claiming she couldn't fake a paternity test to help her. Just then, her husband stormed in and shoved his wife to the ground, seeing only her attacking his innocent new love. He comforted the crying sister while the woman on the floor tried to explain that her sister was the one trying to hurt their son, but her husband coldly told her that the bastard child meant nothing to him and their family. What the woman didn't know was that this moment would cost her 3 years of her life. While she rotted in prison, her husband explained to his mother over the phone that a DNA test proved the child wasn't his. His mother, still grieving for her other son who had died in a car crash, vowed revenge on the woman she blamed for everything. Upon her release, the woman returned to her old home only to find her sister living there as the new lady of the house. The sister dropped her act, asking why she wasn't dead yet, and admitting she wanted to get rid of any loose ends to secure her position. Only then did the woman realize the horrifying truth. Her sister was behind the car crash 4 years ago that had killed her first husband. It was all part of a master plan to destroy her life and take everything she had. With a look of horror, she realized the truth. She identified her sister as the culprit in the car crash 4 years ago that had killed her brother. Her sister just smiled. She confessed that she had done it all. She lunged forward, grabbing the woman by the throat and promising to make her death a messy one. But just as she tightened her grip, a voice cut through the room. The voice questioned what she had just said. It was their mother. She had heard everything. The sister panicked, desperately trying to pretend it was all a joke, but the mother's face was filled with rage and betrayal. She ordered the sister not to call her mom. She accused her of killing her son. She told her that she had made her hate an innocent person for 4 years. She looked at the woman she had wronged, tears filling her eyes. She sobbed that she was so sorry and would get her justice. Desperate to stop her, the sister grabbed a heavy glass vase from the table, smashing it over the mother's head. The mother collapsed, unconscious and bleeding on the floor. In his car, the fiancé felt a sudden wave of panic as his mother's call wouldn't go through. He told the driver to go faster. In the room, the woman screamed, held back by a maid as her sister stood over their mother's body. She pleaded with her not to hurt her, but the killer wasn't listening. She snarled that no one could get in her way. Just then, the maid warned that the fiancé was rushing over. The sister commanded them to clean this up, and they began to drag the mother's body away as the woman could only watch in helpless horror. The woman screamed for help, shouting, "Help, murderer!" As she screamed, her sister collapsed in a heap herself, just as the fiancé burst through the door. He rushed to his beloved who clung to him, crying. She sobbed that she was sorry and couldn't protect Mom. She claimed it was her sister, that she had pushed her. She stated she had tried to stop her, but her leg was useless. The fiancé turned his furious gaze to the woman standing at the top of the stairs. He snarled that he would make her wish she were dead. She cried that it wasn't her, that she hadn't pushed anyone. She insisted it was her sister. The maid immediately backed up the lie. She said she had seen it with her own eyes, that she had pushed them both down the stairs. The fiancé's rage boiled over. He couldn't believe the wicked excuse she was making up, accusing his innocent fiancé who had always been so close to their mother. But the woman remembered the one piece of evidence that could save her. She yelled about the vase, stating that her sister had used it to hit Mom. She added that her fingerprints were on it. Just then, the maid urged the fiancé to save his mother first, reminding him of a private hospital nearby. He carried his mother out, leaving the woman alone with her tormentors. Desperate, she began gathering the broken pieces of the vase, but a new figure appeared from the shadows. It was the family matriarch. She said coldly that the woman's acting was still not good enough. She pressed the glass deeper, slicing the woman's wrist open before dropping her to the floor to bleed out. At the hospital, the fiancé, consumed by a terrible feeling, rushed back home, leaving his mother in the doctor's care. He burst into the room and found the woman lying lifeless in a pool of her own blood. He collapsed beside her, shaking her limp body. He screamed at her not to dare pretend to be dead, stating he wasn't done with her yet. He commanded her to wake up. He told her he hadn't said she could die.